Hey everybody, this is Blue, and we're going to do another book review, and we're going to finish up the RoleMaster Companion series with good old RMC number 7. My views on this book: it's a good book, but it's conditional on one major thing, and we'll get to that in a little bit. As I said in my previous videos, I thought RMC 2 and 3 were the best. A close tie for 1 and 2. If I had to pick a third, it's RMC 7 actually, because of that one condition I actually loved in here. And so it's worth it, but it's expensive. This being the last of the RMCs, it is also the most expensive. I have seen the cheapest version that I saw was $70. That's the one I bought, and I felt good on buying it off of eBay. Because when I saw this on Amazon was over $100. I think it was $150. That's the bad thing about buying out of print. And I wanted to have the best possible version of it, and I didn't know about the PDFs at the time, and I wouldn't have settled for a PDF of this. This, of course, was another book that was destroyed when I had a flood a few years ago, and so I had to get the new one. Or get a new version for me. So let's get into this really quickly. I love the artwork. Iron Crown always did good on their artwork quality wise, and this one with all that red in there, it stuck out, so I like this image and all that. The bad thing is when it gets a little bit older, it gets a little bit faded and you don't get all the details in the center part right here. I think you can see my cursor. But in the book, you don't see that detail. So it's just was something that I liked. The cover was good. It caught my eye. And again, unlike a couple of the other images, it's never been put on another RoleMaster Companion or any other book, and so it's great. That is the image for RMC 7. Alright, so my computer. Alright. Like I said, it's got good artwork in there. These are the people that help build it. It's interesting. Sometimes you catch a name that you see connected to other companies' products. Now they have a lot of information. They have a lot to give you in this. This is a great book to have. Is it worth the $80? Yes, it is. Would you pay $100 for it? If you were desperate, yes. And I think you would do good by getting it. Introduction, pretty standard. First profession is the Arms Master. Now, I have some serious issues with the Arms Master because to me it's a cookie cutter profession, just with a different realm. Because you have the warrior mage, you have the paladin. Paladin's a channeling. Then you got the noble warrior, who is basically just like the paladin, except for being, sworn to a religious system. The noble warrior is sworn to a person, a nobleman, a family. And so, okay, so then we have the Arms Master, and this one combines the realms of arms and mentalism. And so this is another time where, damn it, you might as well, for a game like me, for a designer like me, I should say, I don't use the 3 realms of magic. I just say magic is magic. And so you could still have the paladin because of its religious, but then all the other professions you could probably get rid of or have one version of it. So you have like your paladin, arms master. And I think that would be better. The elementalist. Oh, I gotta go back to this one. And you will see here that they only have 5 spell lists. Now, in RoleMaster, they're supposed to have 6. So you got to go find another spell list to finish this one off. And the prime requisites for this profession are strength and presence. Next up is the elementalist. Elementalist is a cool profession, and it is somebody who combines arms and essence and elemental magic, obviously. And it is used to work with the elements, obviously, with those base lists. But it's not like your straight magician who gets to cast all the bowls, bolts, and cone attacks. Now, the one thing I did not like about this was at the very bottom of that description, the elementalist, has 7 base lists, and you should select 6 of them for their base list, and the remaining one will be available, blah, blah, blah. But they want it to be like an opposing force. So like if you were a fire elementalist, that was your main thing, water would be your bane. It's not bad, but I think it's the tarot mage. Now here is that big condition I was talking about. The tarot mage is one of my favorite professions. I love it. And I studied witchcraft for quite a while. I have multiple tarot decks, and this is based off of the Rider-Waite tarot deck. And so this is a well-constructed profession. This is what makes this particular companion worth its worth. And so the tarot, they have a lot in here about the tarot deck and tarot magic. So this is worth it. And it is one of the odd magician professions because one of the items for a tarot mage is the sword, they actually have a halfway decent fighting stat. Next profession is the shadow mage. This is somebody who works in the shadows, that they can teleport from one shadow to another. Just kind of picture the Shadow, I believe it was Shadow Assassin off of the 1980s Dungeons and Dragons cartoon. There we go. It's not bad. Might need to tweak it just a little bit more. Next profession is the doppelganger. I myself have never been too fascinated with the shapeshifters and all that, so I've kind of stayed away from them. But if you like that, this is a cool profession to use. It's nice. I wish RoleMaster would have done this in the other modules, and that is they did one profession per page. And that's why there's a lot of blank areas, but I thought it showed good organization. Decent artwork too. I believe this is the last profession. It's the witch hunter. And I have issues with it because Yeah, there you go. It still only has 5 base lists instead of the 6. So again, you still have to find one to go with it. And this is a profession that obviously is going after heretic spellcasters, and so it's kind of like they're against magic but use magic type thing. And as I said, I studied witchcraft for quite a few years, and so this kind of goes against what I believe in. Skill laws. Now, these are new options for our previous skills that they've listed. Power perception is about perceiving the energies into something. And so they're just trying to give you different ways to use it in the game, and that's cool. Initiative, psychic initiative, that's kind of a good thing to check out. Yeah, let's try that. Okay. Terrain awareness. They got some good little tidbits of information to add to the game. Agility modifier. That's not bad. Fine arts. Now this is something that if you're doing a hack and slash game, it's not going to interest you much. But if you want to get into details with what your PCs are doing or having options for those PCs, this is something that you should check out. Nice simple chart there for building artwork. There's performing arts right there. This bottom part here, lore, skills, and recognizing herbs, that is a good thing to incorporate into your game, because sometimes I feel that many games are very general when it comes to herbs and all that, so that might help. This meditation as a single skill, this is just bringing it up and including for the newer professions. So there you go on that. Development point systems. Some of this is strictly game master, game developer information, and I pretty much just ignored it in my game. The task timetable, sorry, that's a good chart to have, because if you have this major like you're having your group trying to rebuild a village, they're trying to build a house or fix a house, here you go, you got a table where you can get a good idea of how long it's going to take. Alright, more, and this one's combat laws. They got a lot in here. And this part right here, parrying versus large foes and weapons, because one of the downsides to arms law, which is RoleMaster's combat system, is we're trying to put it on a 1-to-1 scale. What happens if you're fighting something very small, or what if you're fighting something very big? I mean, think about Game of Thrones, where they had the giants involved in combat. How could a single person fight a giant, and what advantages does the giant have, and how would you incorporate them into your game when the giant is fighting those weak little humans? They have a lot of initiative discussions here, and 200-point initiative system. I glanced through that. I didn't use it. I prefer my simple dice roll plus quickness, and go from there. Now this item right here is something that you would like. This is a random events table. This is, what you roll for the PC. And, well, for events around the PC, I should say. And so it's an open-ended rule, so if you roll a 96 or higher, you roll it again and add it to the dice. Okay, and so you have, a very low roll, life proceeds as normal. Okay, well, what about if we rolled an 85? Astronomical events such as the eclipse or comet causes panic and suicides. And so you could be in a village during an eclipse and everybody goes a little nuts. And so that could be, a great way to start an adventure, because there's probably going to be people who don't understand the basis of astronomical events. And so they're thinking that maybe a god or goddess is mad with them, and they might seek people to figure out what to do about the situation. Drowning. I love this part. They have figured out ways to handle swimming and drowning in the game, and so that's unique. Now what I did let's go back up here. In my game is I created a drowning attack table, so that if you are stuck in the water and the water is fast, you take the speed as the attack plus the roll, and you are going to see how much damage that attack does. And then if it does critical, there's going to be even a critical table for it, so that it is an attack because your body is taking damage. And so I believe this will add a nice flair to the game. Grace and Fate. The following are two different ways to work controllable luck or fate into Rolemaster. Each takes different focus, but both essentially will provide the same effects. We're talking about luck and karma and destiny. And so, to me, this is like the gold coin thing that I've seen. Where if your PC does something awesome, they get a fate point, which they can turn it in at a later date. If they need a little luck, maybe they had a bad dice roll, they'll use up their coin just to get a better dice roll. I don't do that in my game, but here are some rules if you do. They're talking about using it right here. You even have the possibility of blocking a fate point, which, not the biggest fan of. But they go into many pages on this. They spend a lot of time on fate and grace. Now, the people at Iron Crown were nerds, and they have devised a chart on weight limits. This is so that you can't have a 400-pound hobbit. They want to tell you the maximum height, weight, strength. They're putting the limitations on everything. And while I understand it, I disagree with it, because why can't we have an occasional freak of nature? And they have plenty of optional spell rules, how to destroy magic items. Items in their ideas get resistance rolls. They put a lot of effort into this RoleMaster Companion. That is why I think a lot of people will like it. And now we're up to the tarot deck. Now, this is the item that makes this RoleMaster Companion awesome to me. I have said in some videos, talked about the other companions, about how they're lacking something that, you know, makes it awesome. Well, RoleMaster Companion 7 has the tarot deck. If you love the tarot deck, this is an awesome thing. They spend many pages. I think I counted 15. But they talk about each card. They talk about the major arcana and the minor arcana and how that they could be used in the game. So you can see they have a lot of information in here. So if you do want to incorporate this into your game, you can quite easily. I would suggest this. They do have tables, I believe it's in Character and Campaign Law, about how to convert RoleMaster into the D20 system. And if you can get your hands on a conversion chart, I would use this and convert it to a D20 system, you know, whatever clone you're using. And like I said, you know, I just went through many pages of, you know, where they're talking about the cards and how they are viewed and used. It's quite nice. They even have a, what they call it, the simplified, you know, making it real simple. And the Ten of Pentacles, which is one right in front of you there, the nice part is like where they're talking about wealth. You pull up the card, and the card, which is the person drawing the cards, is now 1,000 gold pieces richer. You know, and of course, you know, try getting that to where you're going, but nonetheless, instant gain. And so I like that. Now, the other beautiful thing, excuse me, the other beautiful thing is then they transitioned from, you know, talking about the deck to talking about the spells for a tarot mage. And each one of their spell lists, the first 4, are focused on the tools of a tarot mage. And so you got your staff, sword, well, staff, adame, cup, pentacle. Okay, and each one of those represents a specific element, and it's quite interesting. And so they have, like this one for the cup, then number 2 spell is a healing potion, and heals 1 to 10 hit points of the drinker's concussion damage. Well, that's a nice little spell to have. Sword magic. Adame is the dagger, and in RoleMaster they use a sword. But that's being way too picky. Pentacle magic, that's earth magic. And these are protection spells and such. And, you know, that artwork right there, again, that I think that's pretty good. Then the minor arcana, this is, you know, they go by numbers here. It's like a deck of cards on this specific part. Because, you know, that's your, you know, ace 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And it's pretty simple. And there is a lot of reading because they give you a lot of options so that you can, you know, tailor the magic for your game. The Major Arcana, that is your face cards, your Fool, Magician, Emperor, Empress, all the way down. So you got a lot to use for your game. And finally, I mean, you saw that. We had roughly, I'd say, 20 some pages just talking about the tarot mage. And so if you like the concept of a tarot mage, that makes this book worthwhile. So now we go to the Arms Master. Of course, this is basically a focused warrior mage. Not that bad of a profession. This focuses a little bit more on military life. So this is more of your low level, not somebody that is made an oath towards a king or lord. It's not a paladin. And so we got a spell list that talks about improving your weapon. Now, what they don't, I forget where they said this. They say warrior blade, but it is something that can be put onto any weapon. So you can have a warrior mace if you want to. Encampments, it's about camping, of course. Martial law, this is marching and movement, charging. So this is more of kind of like a large scale, almost be ideal to have if you do kind of more of a wargaming in some of your combats in your RPG. Knowledge and that, and the commands. The basic one, we'll do level 1. The casting of this spell grants the caster a +10 bonus to his next racial history battles. Okay. Maybe they're fighting Dragonians. So, now we go to the Elementalist. Now, fire forms, you can see, they're talking about, earth forms. Earth might, earth fingers, earth hand. Basically, you are having a hand. Okay. Gives the caster +10 to his strength modifier for the duration of the spell for Earth Might 1. Earth Hand, this spell causes a huge hand and forearm made of earth and stone to rise out of the ground. The hand can attack with a +20 large grapple. That's pretty interesting. The only thing I don't like about some of these spells for the Elementalist, there's a lot of gaps, which I know that gives the Game Master a chance to add to the spell list, but it's just there's too many gaps. I think they should have put a little bit more effort into it. And so fire forms, air forms, ice forms, light forms, water forms, and if I remember right, the last one's dark forms. So there's a lot of elemental themes you can incorporate when using this system. Then we got the shadow laws shadow law for the shadow mage, and I like this one too. I myself incorporated the shadow mage base list with like moon magic and bubble magic to make my moon mage, because it's all about shadows and all that. I figured that would be better use of these spells. Shadowport, that's the ability to basically teleport yourself from one shadow to another. Doppelganger, this is again shape-shifting, and so you can see they got a lot of options here to make a lot of good details to the game. It is a good profession and spell list if you want to incorporate that into your game. Inorganic shifting, which is kind of nice too, because then they could take the shape of a stone to hide in. And they talk a little bit about golem and elemental forms here too. Spell number 7, Golem form 1. As stone form 1, except caster may assume form of a stoned golem, and caster receives 100% of its natural abilities. Kind of cool. Light shifting, and then dark shifting. Mental shifting, so you can think like what you're trying to shape into. Okay, now we're going to the Witch Hunter. This is changed. This is about holding back a witch. The Aegis, which was about suppressing the magics of whatever you're going after. The Question, which is so you can interrogate. The Eye was about finding. And then the Fist is fighting a witch using magic. That's some pretty cool various spells too. Combat Law. So this would be a nice one to have if you like the warrior mages, because then here is a version and you can make your own unique warrior mage. One option that I liked to do, since so many of these professions, spell using professions, you know, they are very similar except for, like, you know, one is mentalism and the other one's essence. Well, you can use two different combat law spells, like the one that they have for the warrior mage and then this one, and you can kind of give it to different people so that everybody's not using the same darn spell list for combat modification, or in this case maneuvering. Okay. Essence Wing is about using the essence energy to fly around to maneuver. It's a neat one to have. Magical Ropes. This one they want to restrict. This is about creating, obviously, magical ropes to perform certain tasks. I took this spell list, modified it a little bit because too many gaps, and I gave it to my Arachnomancer, because you can say that a rope is a part of its web. So I thought that was a good idea for it. Serpent Law, which can be used for all dragon, it can be used for lizards, and that it could also be if you have a loose view between lizards and dragons, then you could also kind of use it on dragons. Mirror Magic. I like Mirror Magic. That's kind of a nice little thing to put in there. If you're wanting to have some weird unconnected spells into your game, this is one spell list that I would suggest. And that's just a continuation on Mirror Magic. Bubble Magic. Now, you know, a bubble usually is a sphere, so that's why I gave it to my Moon Mage. And it's just something nice and weird to use in the game. And this right here is a continuation of Bubble Magic. Then they got Horseman's Ways, which you can use for your Beastmaster, because some, you know, are actually still going to ride on draft animals. Then we get into a nice one. Destructive Displacements. It's basically teleporting somebody into a wall. Not on the other side of the wall, into the wall. You know, like what that cool picture shows. You know, this would be a great way to get somebody that you don't trust how to basically kill them. And they got a pretty good list for it. Random displacements, controlled displacements. It's a great way to change up teleportation if you have that in your game. Dream Lord. Now, a Dream Lord, just picture a fantasy version of like Freddy Krueger, somebody that could enter your dreams or pull you into their dreams. That's what a Dream Lord does. And they have quite a few spell lists for it. That one right there, Dream World, you really got to work on that, and it requires a lot of detail and journaling to make it. Just picture this and Minecraft, because you know how Minecraft, you build your world. Well, that's what you're doing here. So you can have Minecraft of the mind, so to say, with your Dream Lord, or Dream Master as I call him. Dream Mists, that's another good spell. Mystic Armor. It's a good spell list to have, but it can be overwhelming at times, and so use it with caution. Spell Web, this one I like to. If you use ritual magic concepts into your RPG, Spell Web works really nice. It is a way to connect all of the users to work together. And there's a lot of information on how to create and use Spell Web. Heartfires. Now, I love dragons, and out of all of the RoleMaster Companions, right there is my favorite image. Absolute favorite. And so, because, you know, yeah. But Heartfires is talking about what you do for creating a shape-shifting person into a dragon form. And there are many who have it where they can permanently turn into a dragon. It's something where it can temporarily take form. There's lots of interesting spells like this that make everything even more awesome. And like number 3 spell allows the Drake to mentally summon another Drake who he has previously met, assuming the other Drake is willing. So there's a lot of interesting spells in that list. Fey magic. Fey, we're talking about fairies, sprites, pixies, and that is a cool little spell. But if you're going to use pixies and all that into your game, remember that you got to consider your scale, because we were talking about that earlier in the video. You know, what a pixie can do with their little sword is like us getting stabbed with a toothpick. Vampire magics. Putrefacients. You know, this is the rotting of flesh, the rotting of life. This, what they're saying, is an evil cleric base list. It's quite cool to have, and in some cases use. Then they go into some of their arcane spells, like Willbreaker, Mage Sign. This is use of sigils, basically. Dragon Mastery. Yeah, I laugh because, you know, I have that love for dragons. So you can see where they had a lot involved in creating this. They even added some encounters, some creatures. The Black Paladin, basically it's an undead paladin. I just don't use that. Treasures. There's some interesting items in there. Some things are not magical, but the nice thing about these, they have it categorized into basic items, modest items, potent, and most potent. And then the scary stuff is the artifacts. Obviously, artifacts are the most powerful there. And the nice thing about this is, sometimes we need something to throw into the game and we don't have time to think about it. Well, here you go. You can get Lawbreaker. This is a plus 60 longsword. Converted to D20 systems, that would be a plus 12 longsword. Any spell cast against the user of this blade must make a resistance roll versus a 20 level attack, or the spell will be redirected back towards the caster at half power. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Against lawful alignments, the sword will transfer half of all damage inflicted back to the wielder to heal them. Concussion hits gained in this fashion can never exceed the character's normal maximum. This powerful weapon of chaos is a plainly forged longsword. The crosspiece is made out of black steel and the grip is covered with leather. So you see right there, you can put that into your game. It'd be a nice thing where, somebody does not know if it's a magical weapon, but are noticing some weird stuff. The one critical table that they have here is your sparring practice table, because, you're not trying to actually kill somebody, but things happen, and they even have the E66 critical, rupture foe's spleen. Foe is inactive for 12 rounds, then then the poor fool dies. And that's only if you roll a 66 on the E critical. So again, this makes the game kind of interesting. Alright, then they got their standard option rules that you're going to follow, lit checklist, and all the RoleMaster products they have for the 2nd edition. Continued on and talked about some of their other related material. Then the back cover, which is pretty decent. So, like I said, the key thing here is the tarot deck. If you like the tarot deck, you're going to love this module. There are a lot of games out there that try to implement the tarot deck into their gaming system. And because I want to do that so much, and so when I was going through eBay, I saw Tarot Magic. This is by Mystic Eye Games. It is a decent book, but if you had to choose which one you're wanting, it depends on what you're looking for. If you are something that is detailed and it looks like they spent a lot of time with, then I would highly suggest RoleMaster Companion 7. I believe everything that they put in here about the tarot deck, the tarot mage, is well structured. It's very well detailed and accurate. I have multiple tarot decks, and so when I went through it, and I was nodding my head agreeing with practically everything that they were saying. Tarot Magic, it's not bad, but unfortunately I thought that it was not structured as well. There's There's some vagueness to it. So if you don't mind that it's not picture perfect, you can use it in like your D20 system, no problem. But like I said, if you want detail, realism, go for the best one. So that completes our look at all of the RoleMaster Companions. I hope you liked the video, and please put your comments down below. Everybody, take care and be at peace.